August 16, 2014. Iceland woke up to tremors beneath the ice. But this was only the beginning. A sudden eruption sent ash into the sky, something that should not have happened. From that moment, the disaster threatened not just Iceland, but air travel across the world. This is a landscape that never truly sleeps, where fire and ice wage an eternal war. The first warning signs appeared on August 16, 2014, beneath Europe's largest glacier. 7 a.m., seismometers across Iceland began recording unusual activity. A swarm of small earthquakes clustered beneath Bárðarbunga, one of Iceland's most powerful volcanoes, hidden under the vast Vatnajökull ice cap. It was subtle but alarming. The tremors were shallow, intense, and growing stronger by the hour. For a country accustomed to volcanic unrest, this was different. Scientists at the Icelandic Met Office watched the data with growing concern. The earthquakes were not random. They were following a pattern, migrating north from the caldera, carving a path through the Earth's crust. Something was moving beneath the ice, and it was moving fast. August 17, 2014. The seismic activity exploded. Over 1,000 earthquakes were recorded in a single day, some exceeding magnitude 5. Buildings shook in nearby towns. Roads cracked. Glacial rivers began to swell with meltwater, a clear sign that heat was building beneath the ice. The Icelandic Civil Protection raised the aviation color code to orange, the second highest alert level. Authorities faced a terrifying question. Was this the precursor to a catastrophic eruption under the glacier? If magma breached the ice cap, it could trigger a glacial outburst flood known in Iceland as a jökull, a wall of water, ice, and debris capable of wiping out everything in its path. We have explosions of ice, explosions of water, and that is what is so unpredictable about this volcano. On August 23, 2014, at midnight, a fissure opened on the northern edge of the Vatnajökull glacier near the Holuhraun lava field. Lava fountains burst through the ice, shooting molten rock hundreds of feet into the air. The eruption had begun, but within hours, it stopped. The fissure sealed itself. Scientists were baffled. Was this the end or just a warning? August 29, 2014, 4 in the morning. A second, far more violent fissure eruption tore through Holuhraun. This time, it did not stop. A curtain of fire stretched for over a mile, spewing lava at a rate not seen in Iceland for centuries. The ground glowed red. Molten rock poured across the barren landscape, consuming everything in its path. Volcanic plumes rose thousands of feet into the sky, visible from Reykjavik, over 150 miles away. The air was thick with sulfur dioxide, a toxic gas that could suffocate anyone who breathed it in high concentrations. Authorities evacuated nearby areas and warned pilots. The aviation color code was raised to red. The eruption was truly incredible. The sheer power of the lava flow was astounding. The eruption was mesmerizing, but it was also deadly. Sulfur dioxide concentrations in the air reached levels 10 times the safety limit. Residents across northern Iceland reported breathing difficulties, headaches, and nausea. Farmers feared for their livestock. The gas could poison animals grazing in open fields. For volcanologists, this was both a nightmare and an opportunity. The Holuhraun eruption was one of the largest basaltic lava flows in modern history, and it was happening in real time. Teams set up monitoring stations around the fissure, braving toxic fumes and unstable ground to collect data. But every day brought new dangers. September 3, 2014. Bárðarbunga caldera, the massive bowl-shaped depression at the volcano's summit, began to collapse. Over the following weeks, it would sink by more than 200 feet, one of the most dramatic collapses ever recorded. Each subsidence event triggered powerful earthquakes, some exceeding magnitude 5.5. The collapse meant that magma was draining from the chamber beneath the glacier, feeding the eruption at Holuhraun. But it also raised a terrifying possibility. If the collapse continued, it could destabilize the entire system and trigger a massive subglacial eruption, the kind that would melt through the ice cap and send floodwaters racing toward the coast. This is a ticking time bomb. We do not know when it will happen or if it will happen at all. Days turned into weeks. The eruption continued. Lava spread across the Holuhraun plain, covering over 33 square miles, an area larger than Manhattan. Rivers of molten rock glowed in the darkness, advancing at a crawl but never stopping. The heat was so intense that satellites in space could detect it. For the first time in decades, Iceland faced a long-duration eruption, and the world watched nervously. Airlines remembered 2010, when the eruption of Vatnajökull paralyzed European air travel for weeks, stranding millions of passengers. If Bárðarbunga produced a similar ash cloud, the consequences could be catastrophic. But Holuhraun was different. The eruption was effusive, not explosive. Most of the lava flowed across the ground rather than exploding into the sky. There was ash, but it stayed low, dispersed quickly, and posed little threat to aviation. Still, the sulfur dioxide was relentless. By October 2014, the plume of toxic gas stretched across Iceland and beyond, reaching as far as Norway and the UK. Air quality alerts were issued across Northern Europe. For Icelanders, life became a daily gamble. Should they stay indoors, wear masks, evacuate? One farmer described the scene. "The sky is gray. The air smells like rotten eggs. My sheep won't eat. I don't know how long we can last like this." Months passed. The eruption showed no signs of stopping. Scientists marveled at the sheer volume of magma being expelled. By December 2014, Holuhraun had produced over 1.4 cubic kilometers of lava, making it the largest effusive eruption in Iceland since the Laki eruption of 1783, which killed thousands and caused climate disruptions across Europe. January 2015. The lava flow slowed. Seismic activity beneath Bárðarbunga began to decline. The fissure, once roaring with fountains of fire, dimmed to a glow. On February 27, 2015, after 6 months of continuous eruption, the Icelandic Met Office declared that the eruption had ended. When scientists finally surveyed the damage, the scale was staggering. The Holuhraun lava field had grown into a vast, blackened plain. Bárðarbunga's caldera had sunk so much that the glacier above it formed a massive ice cauldron. Sulfur dioxide emissions had exceeded 12 million tons, more than all of Europe's industrial output combined during the same period. Miraculously, no lives were lost. Iceland's monitoring systems, evacuation protocols, and public awareness had saved countless people, but the eruption left scars. Livestock died, crops failed, tourism plummeted as visitors feared toxic air. Yet, Iceland endured. The land of fire and ice had faced its fury before and would again. The Bárðarbunga eruption was a reminder that beneath the glaciers, the earth is alive, restless, and unforgiving, a force that shows no mercy.